Hello and welcome back to the channel. So I think there's a theory in photography that good light is absolutely everything, but I've been questioning that lately. I've started to ask myself the question, is the subject and the story told by that subject even more important? Now before you all blast me in the comments and tell me that actually both are important, I've got a few subjects that I want to go and photograph today, and we'll have a chat about it as we make our way through the video. So there'll be one common theme I think throughout today in terms of the subjects that I'm coming to photograph, in that what I don't want today is the light to overpower the subject, which sometimes golden hour light can do. So take this old barn that I've come to photograph here in the Peak District. This is a place I've been to on numerous occasions and I've always wanted to come back in autumn. The kind of objective of coming to photograph this is I want to tell the story of the barn and not the light. So as you can see, it's kind of weather worn, hole in the roof, quite an isolated part of the Peak District, and there's a nice pack horse bridge that leads up to it. So what I really want to do is kind of create the curiosity within my images that make people who view them want to know more about this location, how long this barn's been here for, how old that pack horse bridge is, and so on. What I don't want is anyone to view any of these photos and say, that's nice light, because that's just kind of further away from the thing that I want to achieve. Now, to be honest today, the light isn't actually helping me out. I kind of wanted to come and photograph this on a bit of an overcast day, misty day, to add a sense to that kind of feeling of abandonment. But sadly, you have to get out when you can, and I'm not going to get another chance to get here whilst we've got autumn colours. I absolutely love this bridge. I think it might be an old pack horse bridge, probably wrong, but I really wanted to come back and photograph this when there was a little bit of autumn colour around. I'm so glad that the sun's gone in, because this is a good example of a subject that was just being ruined by the nice light that was coming through earlier. I think flat light with the autumn colours is really suiting this one. In fact, it's actually raining now, which wasn't forecast, but I'll take it because it's exactly what I was wanting. So I've really enjoyed photographing that barn and bridge. I think particularly the photos I've got of the bridge, I've photographed it quite a few times now, and until today I'd never got a photo that I was happy with. Either I've been there when there's been no foliage on the trees, so there's just too much sky, which makes it quite distracting, or I've been there on a sunny day and again it kind of gets overpowered by the sunlight. So I was kind of pleased that the sun actually went in. When I was driving in today, I passed a phone box en route to here, and just as the sun was rising, so I thought, right, I'll pull over and quickly get a photograph of that, which I'll pop up on screen now. And I think that's a classic example of how the light can sometimes overpower the subject, certainly in my opinion. I'd be interested to hear what you think in the comments below, but yeah, I just thought it ended up being a photograph all about the nice light and not about the phone box, and the fact that the phone box was in the middle of nowhere on a nice curvy road and just told a fantastic story for me. But anyway, yeah, you might completely disagree and think that the light actually made it a better photograph. So this place here is photography heaven for me. Now if my daughter's watching this, she'll be laughing her head off at that comment. She already thinks I'm a bit of a photography nerd. But yeah, everything here in terms of subjects are right up my street. It's almost like some kind of place that time forgot. The kind of place that you sometimes see in the movies where someone's been kidnapped and they've been kind of kept here against their will. It's just kind of an array of abandoned caravans, cars, honestly. There's so many questions that I have to ask myself when I'm at locations like this and photographing them. And we're probably 3 hours after sunrise now, so the light's harsh. Another example for me, why would I want to photograph a location like this at golden hour and it to be all about the light? It's just the last thing I'd want. This for me is all about the subjects that I'm photographing. If anything, again, I think this would be better suited to more moody, overcast conditions. I'm a bit annoyed that the sun's come back out, to be honest. Or rather the rain or cloud come back over. But I've taken, as you'll have been seeing on screen as I've been talking, a lot of images to try and hopefully tell the story behind this place for someone who's not visited it before. I'm trying to kind of give that sense of abandoned, right from the little details like the kind of kettle, just randomly placed. I couldn't get it, but there's a kind of cat that's made a home in one of the caravans. You can probably tell that I love photographing places like this, which again I'm kind of hoping emphasises the point I'm trying to make in this video, which is photography doesn't always have to be about golden hour light. Often, if you find the right subjects, you can create really compelling and interesting images. Again, I'll let you be the judge of that. You might think all of these images are rubbish. Again, let me know in the comments. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on whether I've achieved what I've set out to here. I think clearly someone is visiting this place. It explains why I saw the cat in here earlier with the big bowl of cat biscuits there. So I've had to take a little bit of respite here behind this wall because it's quite windy today and there's a real bite to that wind. It feels more like January than October, as you can probably tell by my nose. I wanted to clarify something though, because I don't want this video to come across as I'm an anti-golden hour photographer, because that's certainly not the case. In fact, until about 6 months ago, the vast majority of my photography was done at golden hour. Admittedly, I did used to mostly photograph landscapes back then, and my photography style, as you've probably picked up, has changed to more of a subject-driven documentary type style of photography. But the reason I'm trying to make some of the points I'm making today is I hear far too often photographers saying that they've not been able to get out with their camera much because the light's not been right. And I'm hoping that I'm kind of providing some food for thought through my videos and kind of helping people see that you don't always have to go out and photograph the same things that rely on really good light to get good results. So I've stumbled across another car graveyard, a little bit like last time really. However, the location of this one is fascinating really. All around here is just featureless moorland. We're about 450 metres above sea level. I think it's fair to say though that these old cars, they're not beautiful in the traditional sense that we often consume our photography. But I think everything about this scene tells a story to me. How did those cars get here? How long have they been here for? Why are they just being left to rot and decay? You'll have noticed that some of them are being used to store logs. And I approach these places not like I'm just kind of photographing objects or subjects, but I'm actually photographing kind of aspects of life, a life that was previously lived and has been left to kind of create its own story in this location. I actually learnt to drive in one of these, Peugeot 205. I always wanted one of those as my very first car, but never happened. Now this one's just been left to store logs. So I thought I'd just talk a little bit about my process when I'm out doing this type of photography, in case it's of help to anybody. So the first thing that I look for are scenes that stop me in my tracks and make me ask questions. That's usually a good sign that there's some photographic potential in that scene. Then the next thing I'd look to do, pretty similar to like any type of photography really, is I would kind of explore 360 degrees if I can around that scene, just looking for all of the potential opportunities to help me tell that story, which is the next thing that I look to do really. Is I like to kind of create sets of images, as I mentioned earlier, that when pulled together hopefully tell a story of the kind of wider scene that I'm trying to photograph. And I always try wherever I can to like let imperfection speak. None of these scenes that I photographed today are perfect. There'll be twigs here, branches there that, you know, probably go against all of the composition rules, but they're not perfect scenes, and I can't see any point whatsoever in me cloning and doing all of the stuff I would have been with my landscape photos to hide the fact that they are imperfect. So I feel like I've had a really productive day today. Got some photographs that I'm quite pleased with. I'll try and summarise this video, but whilst I'm doing that, I'll flick up on screen some of the other photos that I've taken. So for me, when I stopped chasing that perfect light and started looking for stories, that's when everything changed in my photography. I just began to feel a lot more connected to what I was photographing. I can honestly say the photographs I take now, I love to keep looking at them, and I can honestly not say that about the images that I used to take when I purely focused on the kind of golden light, traditional landscape type of photography. I just love going back to some of these types of photos that I've taken today and similar ones like it. And every time I do, I find myself asking new questions. So for me, that kind of good light that we often crave as photographers, that will always come and go. But the stories, the texture and time, I think forever they will just always be waiting to be explored, regardless of what the light's doing. And it's that, for me, that just makes photography feel alive. It's that that keeps me going out with the camera, whatever the light's doing, and in most weather conditions, because there's always something that I know that will catch my eye, poke that bit of curiosity, and really inspire me to want to photograph it. So I think there is my challenge to you. The next time you've got a chance to go out with your camera, but the conditions are looking far from ideal, just challenge yourself to go out and find your own stories within whatever genre of photography you're interested in. I think you'll be surprised just how rewarding it can be. And don't be afraid to share them either. That was my biggest problem when I first started to move away from landscapes and into more documentary and storytelling type of photography. I stopped sharing them initially because I was embarrassed, thinking, who's going to enjoy looking at a photograph of a rusty old car? But you'll be surprised, you know, the number of times people have commented on some of the photographs that I've shared, similar to the ones I've shown in this video today. And they've commented on how a particular image had kind of provoked a feeling of nostalgia. And you know what? That means more to me than 1,000 likes and no one commenting on a sunrise or sunset photograph of a pretty scene. So I think it's time to wrap this one up. It's getting colder, it's getting windier. I want a cup of tea and a slice of cake. But I hope you found this video helpful, useful and interesting. At least one of those three. If you let me know what you thought about the video and anything you've taken from it in the comments below, I do really like to read those. It just kind of helps me understand whether the videos that I'm producing are resonating with others. Right, okay, let's leave it there then. Thanks for watching this one. See you on the next one. Bye for now.